I'm going to challenge you to listen to this, pause, rewind, take notes, do whatever you need to do. These are things to think about before you start a business and as you go about it. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. What I want you to do, I don't want you to just listen to this and nod along and stop and go about your day. I'm going to challenge you to listen to this, pause, rewind, take notes, do whatever you need to do to really think about this stuff, to do the work to think about stuff. I'm going to ask you some hard questions, and this is directed at business owners. If you're not a business owner, you might not get much out of this, but these are things to think about before you start a business and as you go about it. So, what are your personal goals? Is it to earn more? Is it to work less? Is it to do exciting things? Is it to change the world? Is it exploring things that you are excited about while earning money from something you did in the past? What are you happiest doing with your time and spending your time doing? What activities bring you the most joy? Is it work? That's okay if it's work. Is it hanging out with friends? Is it hobbies? Is it crypto? What is it? Answer that question. And back to the goal thing, what are your goals? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? What does a perfect day look like for you 5 years from now, or maybe a week? What does a perfect week look like? And I'm literally asking you to lay out how you spend your time. How much time is it working? How much time is it playing? How much time is it spending with friends and family? Mine is pretty clear. My goal is to spend my time Monday, I want to work all day. Tuesday, I want to work until about noon and go play golf or spend time with my kids. Wednesday, same thing, work from about 9 to noon, go play golf or spend time with my kids. Same on Thursday, same on Friday. And then weekend, no work, hang out with friends, go to sporting events, travel, do whatever it is. And what does actually work look like for me? And work for me means fielding emails that don't necessarily require action from me. I'm watching business happen without me. I'm watching assets get purchased. I'm watching the business happen without really anything required of me. And what are my goals as far as money goes? I want to be making, 25 grand a month without doing anything. I've already surpassed that goal long ago. Well, I say long ago, but I've surpassed that goal by a wide margin. So now my goal is to do more of this right here. Podcasting, teaching, tweeting, interacting, and making myself smarter and hopefully sharing what I know with other people. Now I'm going to ask you some hard questions about your team. First, your partner, who you're in business with, what are his or her strengths and weaknesses? What is that person really good at? What are they good at? And what does that person suck at? And what are you frustrated about? Do you feel like that your partner has the correct skill set to take you to the next level to help you accomplish your goals? And do you feel like you have the correct equity structure, the correct structure from an equity standpoint to grow your business to a monetary goal to get wealthy and feel good about who earns what and what value was contributed? Those are hard questions that you really need to ask. And now this is the hard one that you may not like the answer to, but let's say your partner is doing a similar activity. What does he or she say your strengths are? What do you do really well? What do you do to add a lot of value to the company? What are your weaknesses? What do you suck at? What are they pissed off at you about? What are you spending your time doing that is not adding value to the company? Where do you drop the ball? What do you struggle with? Those are all really hard questions that you probably deep down know the answer to and you need to come to terms with. What is, let's say with a goal centered around profitability. Let's say your business or you personally have a profitability goal. What is in your 80-20, meaning what 20% of your activities generate 80% of your profitability? And some of you may say, I don't know. You may not actually know how the finances work. You may not spend time looking at your profit and loss statements. You may not spend time analyzing how profitable each job is. And I'm going to challenge you to change that and get to know it and spend some time on it and figure out what 20% of your activities are generating 80% of your profits. For me, it's clear. For me, it's structuring new deals, bringing on equity partners, and making key hires that can grow and expand our real estate private equity company, period. That is in my 80-20. Everything else is important, but not necessarily in my most profitable range. Now I'm going to give you another question. Let's say your phone rings. Let's say you get a phone call and it is either a customer or an employee. I want you to run this scenario twice. The first time a phone rings with a customer calling you, the second time the phone rings with an employee calling you. What are the common questions, or what do they need help with? I'm going to say that again. What are the common questions that come to you, problems, and what do they need help with? And I'm going to ask you how hard those things are to delegate. Can you delegate them? Can you get those questions going to somebody else? Can you, when you think about the monkey on the back reference that I've made many times throughout this podcast, an employee or customer comes to you with a problem, and that's a monkey on their back. And when they walk in your office or they pick up the phone, that monkey jumps onto your desk, and now it's your problem because they voiced it and they vocalized it to you. You have one of two options. You can either solve that problem for them, basically take the monkey and put it back in its cage, or take it to where it needs to go and take care of it. Or you can give that monkey back to them and say, what would you do? Let's think about how to think through this. How do you think through this? Asking them a series of questions, basically putting the problem back on them and making them go solve it. Some employees can and some employees can't. And wasting time with employees that can't, your job needs to be to find people who can. But thinking through what those tasks actually are and where you become the bottleneck in the business. Where are you the bottleneck in the business? That's a really important thing to think about and a really important question to ask. And it all starts with the phone call. What questions are you getting? What tasks are required of you to keep money coming in the door? Another question, what are you worried about right now? What are you stressed about? What's keeping you up at night? Is it a certain job? Is it a certain employee? Is it a certain customer? Those are minor. You can almost always handle those things. Or is it bigger picture? Is it becoming a soft human that doesn't know how to suffer and has the easy road and becomes lazy? Is it raising good kids and having a strong marriage? Is it lifestyle creep? Is it always looking for that next upgrade, that, chasing something? Is it financial ruin? Is it all around money? Is it around people? What's stressing you out and what are you worried about right now? So let's think through hypothetical here where your goal is $5 million in the bank or invested that's producing you income. You need $5 million. I'm going to ask you, in your current situation from where you are right now, what is the least risky path for you to achieve that goal in the next, maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years if you're just getting started. What is the least risky path for you to achieve $5 million liquid or in investments to your name? What's the least risky path? Now I'm going to think about some key tasks here. What have been the most important things you've done for your company over the past 1 to 5 years? Have they been key hires? Have they been key sales? Have they been key deliverables? Have they been processes that you've built? Have they been relationships that you've built? Have they been sales outlets or just going after a certain decision that you made at one point to go after a certain opportunity and you did it and you successfully chased down that lion and caught it? What have been the most important things that you have done for your company over the past 1 to 5 years? And now I'm going to leave you, again, a short episode that hopefully you're going to spend some time with, that you're going to take some notes with, and you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to think about these things. What are your personal goals? And what have you been neglecting recently that could be getting you closer to those goals? What have you been ignoring that you know needs attention? What part of your business that's a pain in your ass that you know needs work and you know needs your attention have you just been ignoring and procrastinating and pushing off? And go back to the beginning. What are your personal goals? What does a perfect week look like for you 2 years from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now? What are you actually doing with your time? And then the follow-up question to that is, how much cash do you need to make that happen? How much money do you need in the bank? How much money do you need invested? How much money do you need coming in every month to make that happen? And what's the lowest risk path for you to get there?
This episode of Sweaty Startup is brought to you by supportshepherd.com. SHEPHERD. They are a full-service headhunting agency in the Philippines to help you find talent for your service business at 20% of the cost of U.S. equivalents. I've hired 8 employees through Support Shepherd. I cannot speak highly enough about how it is revolutionizing my business. This company finds you candidates, they background check them, they do personality tests, they make sure they're a good fit based on your job description, they set up the interviews, and they even help you with the employment contract when you're ready to make the hire. I cannot recommend them enough. Check out supportshepherd.com to learn more.